Jai Shri Gurudev. So today we shall discuss about the contents of first PU Mathematics. So here there are 6 parts and you'll be knowing which are those parts. Okay, there are 6 units. Fine. And the first unit is sets and functions. So under that, first lesson is sets. So here you will be studying sets and their representations. And here you will be knowing a definition, examples, methods of representation in roster and rule form, and examples also for that. And then you will be going through types of sets. Okay, that is empty set, finite and infinite sets, equal sets, and subsets, power sets, universal sets, and so on. Fine. And example for those. Then you'll be going through the operation on sets. Okay, that is union and intersection of sets, and difference of sets, complement of sets, properties of complement sets, and simple practical problems on union and intersection of two sets. And then you'll be going through the Venn diagram. Fine. That is simple problems on Venn diagram, and then you'll be going through a Venn diagram representation of operation on sets. So these are the things that you'll be going to study under the topic sets. And then the next lesson is relations and functions. So here you will be going through the Cartesian product of sets, that is ordered pairs, Cartesian product of a set, number of elements in the Cartesian product of finite sets, and Cartesian product of reals with itself. Fine. And then you'll be going through the relations in it. So here you'll be going through the definition of relation and pictorial diagrams, domain, codomain, and range of a relation, and examples to it. And then functions. So under functions you will be studying about a special kind of relation from one set to another. Then pictorial representation of a function, domain, codomain, range, and range of a function, and real valued functions of a real variable, domain and range of constant, identity, polynomial, rational, modulus, signum, and greatest integer functions with their graphs. So these are the topics that you'll be going to study under this lesson. Fine. And then you'll be third chapter, that is trigonometric functions. So here you'll be going through the anyhow the introduction part of it, and then angles. So under angles you'll be going through the positive and negative angles, measuring how to measure the angles in radians and degrees. Fine. And how to convert from one measure to another. Those things you'll be going to study under angles. Then in a trigonometric functions you'll be going to study about the signs of trigonometric function and sketch of their graphs. Fine. And then trigonometric functions of sum and difference of two angles. Then the trigonometric equations. So these are the topics that you are going to study under this lesson. And the next chapter, before that, the first unit we have finished with a 3 chapter, and the second unit starts over here, that is algebra. Fine. So here the 4th chapter that comes under the unit 2 is principle of mathematical induction. So here in this you will be studying anyhow you'll be going through the introduction part, and then you'll be studying what are the needs, the process of proof by induction. Fine. And then you'll be motivating the application of the method by looking at natural numbers as a least inductive subset of real numbers. Fine. And the principle of mathematical induction and simple problem based on the summation only. Fine. So these are the things that you'll be going through this topic. And then is the 5th lesson that comes under the unit 2 algebra, that is complex numbers and quadratic equations. Okay, here what are the things that you'll be going to study are like what are the needs of complex numbers, especially for root -1, Okay, and then you'll be going through the brief description of algebraic properties of complex numbers, and you'll be going through the modulus and the conjugate of complex numbers, and then you'll be going through the Arganda plane and polar representation. Fine, and you'll be studying quadratic equations of complex number. Okay, quadratic equations in the complex number system. Fine, so these are the subtopics that you'll be going through the 5th chapter. And then 6th lesson, that is linear inequalities. Okay, so here you'll be studying, anyhow we'll be going through the introduction part, then you'll be studying what are linear inequalities. Okay, then you'll be going through the algebraic solutions of linear inequality in one variable and their representation on the number line and the examples to it. Fine, and then graphical solution of linear inequalities in two variables and examples to it, and a solution of system of linear inequalities in two variables graphically and examples. Okay, so these are the things that you'll be going through this that will be studied under this topic. And the next is 7th lesson in a part 2 in a unit 2, that is permutations and combinations. So here you will be going through anyhow introduction part, then fundamental principle of counting, then you will be going through the permutation, that is definition of permutation and examples to it, and derivation of formulae, that is NPR. Fine, NPR formulae, and then combination. Here you'll be going through the definition again, examples to it, and proving NCR is equal to NPR into R factorial, and NCR is equal to NCN minus R. All those things you will be going to derive under this combination, and some problems based on the formulae that we are going to deal with. Okay, so this is about the 7th chapter. And then the 8th chapter is binomial theorem. So here you will be going through the introduction will be there, and then a statement and proof of the binomial theorem for a positive integral indices. Fine, and then Pascal's triangle you will be going to know Pascal's triangle, and then general and middle term in the binomial expansion. Fine, and problems based on expansion and finding any term and term independent of x and middle term and coefficient of x. So these are the kind of problems that you'll be going to deal in this lesson. Fine, and the next topic is sequence and series. So here in this lesson, anyhow we'll be having an introduction, then you'll be having the definition for sequence and series. Fine, and then you'll be going through the arithmetic progression AP, and there you'll be there you can find definition, examples, and general term of AP, and then nth term of AP, and sum to nth term of AP, and the problems. Fine, and in geometric series GP, you'll here also you'll be going through the general term of GP, that is nth term of GP, and sum of n terms of GP, and the problems. Fine, and then sum to n term of special series. Okay, that is summation of n and summation of n square and summation of n cube. All those things you will be studying under this lesson. Fine, and the next is unit 3, that is coordinate geometry. So here the first lesson, or the 10th lesson, what you can say under 3rd unit, 10th lesson is straight lines. Fine, so here you'll be going through anyhow introduction part, then you'll be going to the slope of line, that is slope of line joining 2 points and the problems to it. Fine, and then you'll be going to the angle between 2 lines. Okay, that is a slope of parallel and perpendicular lines and collinearity of 3 points and problems. And then various forms of equations of line, that is a general equation of a line and general equation of a line, that is reducing ax plus by plus c is equal to 0 into other forms of equation of straight lines. Fine, then equation of family of lines passing to the point of intersection of 2 lines and the problems, and then distance of a point from a line and distance between 2 parallel lines and its problem. So these are the topics that you are going to study under this lesson. And then the next lesson is conic section. Okay, conic section. So here anyhow we'll be having an introduction to it, and then sections of a cone. So here you will be going through the definition of a conic and definition of circle, parabola, ellipse, hyperbola as a conic. Fine. And you will be going to the derivation of standard equation of circle, parabola, ellipse and hyperbola, and problems based on the standard forms only. Fine. Okay. And yes, this is about the conic sections. Fine. And the next topic in the next chapter that you will be going to study is Introduction to Three-Dimensional Geometry. So here anyhow introduction part, then you will be studying the coordinate axis and coordinate planes in 3 dimensions, and coordinates of a point, distance between 2 points, and section formula and its problems. Fine. So this is about this lesson that you are going to study in future. And then and then comes unit 4, that is calculus. Okay, so under this the chapter is a 13th chapter, that is limits and derivatives. So here you will be studying anyhow introduction and then limits. So under that you will be going through indeterminate forms, existence of functional value, and meaning of x tends to a, and idea of limit, and left hand limit, right hand limit, all those things. Okay, and then you will be going to the derivatives. Okay, derivatives, that is under derivatives you will be having a definition and geometrical meaning of derivatives, and then mentioning of rules of differentiation and problems upon that, and derivatives of x to the power n, cos x, sin x, tan x. Okay, constant function from first principles, all those things will come under this chapter. Fine. Okay, so next is unit 5, that is mathematical reasoning. Fine, mathematical reasoning. So the name of the lesson itself, mathematical reasoning. So here you'll be having an introduction part. Okay, and then you'll be going to study definition of proposition and problems and logical connectives. Okay, you'll be studying a new statement. So how to create a new statement from an old statement. You'll be following few rules and regulations to it, and you'll be having some special words and the phrases to create. Okay, and then you'll be studying about the quantifiers, negations, consequence of implications, contrapositive and converse. Fine. And proving a statement by a method of contradiction by giving counter examples. All those things will be studying under this chapter. Fine. Okay, so next unit is unit 6. Here you will be dealing with the statics and probability. Okay, chapter 15 is statistics. So here anyhow we'll be having an introduction. So here you'll be studying measure of dispersion, range, mean deviation, variance, and standard deviation of ungrouped and grouped data, and analysis of frequency distributions with equal means but different variances. Fine. So these are the topics that you are going to study under the lesson statistics. And the last lesson is probability. So under the probability you will be having an introduction part. Then you'll be going to study random experiments, okay, outcomes, and you'll be studying about the sample space, what are sample space and what are events, okay, and how the occurrence of events, and you'll be studying about not and or events. Fine. And also you'll be studying about the axiomatic approach to probability. Fine. So these are the things that you'll be going to study about, that you are going to study under the chapter probability. So here, so there will be a 6 parts, that is 6 units. Under 6 units you will be having a 16 lesson, okay, which are basically different from one another, and also it have a link to one another in somewhere. Okay, so these are the easy chapters that you will be going to deal in your 11th standard.